Brachot habaot to the ladies who are joining us now around the entire world, the entire globe, on this festive occasion of Chanukah, which is supposed to leave us with a tremendous sense of hope and inspiration, give us the ability to continue through this dark galut with much light and fortification. Today's lesson I'm addressing to all the viewers instead of to the audience. You and I are going to have a one-on-one individual lesson. And it's a lesson for all times. There's hidden secrets in what I'm about to share with you. The mysteries of Chanukah and how they're related to particular events. A few lessons ago, we spoke about Yosef Ha'tzadik and his relation to Chanukah and his greatness, his righteousness. We said that Yosef is the one Torah figure who the Torah tells us created a light for the generations, but especially the generations of the Hashmonaim. They were able to defeat the darkness of the Greeks because of Yosef's ability to combat the darkness in Egypt. I'm going to explain this to you so you could appreciate Chanukah a little bit more and the greatness of Yosef Ha'tzadik. So the story goes that while Yosef was an Eved to Potiphar, his wife attempted to seduce and entice him every single day, but he wouldn't respond to her. Now, could you imagine how difficult this was for Yosef to overcome this nisayon? Now, think about it. Yosef is a young man. He's very handsome. His appearance is overwhelming. I mean, the ladies were throwing gifts at him and adorning him. He's a young man with, male hormones. He has no other options available to him in Egypt. He's all alone, and let's face it, nobody would find out about his sin if he committed it with Eshet Potiphar, because nobody really knows his true identity. So the seduction of Eshet Potiphar is very, very strong. And the entire time, Yosef is controlling himself and he's holding himself back. And then the psukim inform us of something very, very interesting. It says, Vayehi kehayom hazeh. That day was very significant. It was a significant day. And Rashi HaKadosh tells us that on that day, when Yosef came to the house of Potiphar, he entered the house and his intentions was to do the sin with Potiphar's wife. Shockingly, Rashi HaKadosh tells us, he finally broke. He was about to do this sin. But what happened? All of a sudden, he saw the image of his father in front of him, in the window there. And miraculously, Yosef is able to muster up some superhuman strength. And he leaves his coat in her hands, he turns around, and he runs away. Ladies, what happened there? What was so special about that day? Rashi HaKadosh tells us that that day was the holiday of the Egyptians. It was the holiday of the Avodah Zarah. And everybody in Egypt was busy worshiping and celebrating. So Potiphar's wife says to herself, there's no better day than today for me to try to seduce Yosef. She dafka waited for this day. She waited kiviyachol as if for December 25th to roll around on the calendar to entice Yosef, because she knew that this was the day of Tumah. This was the day of impurity. And now Yosef realizes that he's alone with her in the house. Chachamim tell us that at this point Yosef finds himself in the tumah of Mitzrayim and the impurity of Mitzrayim, which was the epitome of perversion and the center of immorality. He finds himself in the house of Potiphar, battling his Yetzer Hara in a place where there's zero Kedusha. And Eshet Potiphar picks the unholiest day of the year, where the Tumah is the strongest, where the Avodah Zarah is being worshipped, where the air is filled with tremendous corruption, and she's trying to use all the powers of impurity to affect Yosef's neshama. And all of a sudden, Yosef sees the image of his father in front of his eyes, and that's it. He's out. What does it mean that he saw the image of his father in the window? It means a lot of things. But Chachamim tell us that simplistically speaking, on a high level, I don't know how high and simple goes together, but it means that the Shekhinah came down from the highest place in the heavens in order to save Yosef. Yosef's neshama was on the verge of breaking, and the Shekhinah came down and lifted him up and brought that glimmer of light back into Yosef's soul. The Sfarim HaKadoshim ask, do you know what night it was when this entire episode took place? That night, when Yosef Ha'tzadik was in the grip of darkness, where his neshama was about to be extinguished, that night, ladies, was none other than the 25th day of Kislev. How do we know? Because the pasuk says, Vayehi kehayom hazeh. The word kehayom is chaf hey yom. It was the 25th day of Kislev, which means that the light of Chanukah was already rooted in this episode way back then in Egypt with Yosef Ha'tzadik. That day, ladies, is earmarked, the 25th of Kislev, as one that's filled with light, with hope and salvation. Therefore, every 25th of Kislev, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and throughout, of course, throughout the days of Chanukah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu begins the revival and the resuscitation of all his candles. And that's you. Interestingly, the word nefesh is notrakon for the following words. The nun is nerot. Pei is ptila, and shin is shemen. These are the items that we use to light the candles. On Chanukah, ladies, HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes down to us in an effort to reignite and rekindle our nefesh. HaKadosh Baruch Hu attempts to recover all those neshamot that have been drawn in by the secular culture, just like they were in the days of the Greeks. By the ideology of the Yevanim, they were drawn in. And Chanukah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants the lights to shine brightly in our homes so that we could feel the warmth of Kedusha and embrace that warmth with renewed energy and hope. And this episode of Yosef Ha'tzadik, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu came down for him on that 25th day of Kislev to save him from the Tumah of Egypt, that's alluded to, by the way, in the Tefillah of the Al Nasim that we are reciting currently. What do we say? We say, Nakamta et nikmatam. Hashem, you took revenge against our enemies. Masarta giborim beyad chalashim. You delivered the mighty into the hands of the weak. Lecha asita Shem gadol vekadosh be'olamecha. Shem, you made a great and holy name for yourself in the world. Ule'amcha Yisrael asita teshua gedola. and you created a redemption for your people, Bnei Israel. And then what do we say? We say, Ufurkan kehayom hazeh. You made a great miracle and a salvation, kehayom hazeh, like that day. What's that day that the Al Nisim is referring to? It's reminding us that just like a Kadosh Baruch Hu came down from his throne to save Yosef's neshama, so too you should feel HaKadosh Baruch Hu's immense love throughout these days of Chanukah, and know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes down especially for you, to your home. You should never feel alone. You should never feel dejected. Chanukah is a time where you can draw from that special light, from the Kedusha, and to be uplifted and happy. What does that mean for us practically? Well, practically speaking, ladies, for those of us who sometimes stray from the path of light and aren't always ready to embrace the emet, to hug the Torah, or for those of us who sometimes forfeit the holiness for the false pleasures of the secular world, for the ideologies that are sheker, where we actually choose to want to identify ourselves with the majority rather than being proud to be the minority. Well, I have good news for you. Chanukah is the Chag that speaks volumes to your neshama. It's a Chag that's filled with so much love and so much light that's ready to embrace you. So with everything that's happening in the world and all the signs that are pointing towards the direction of Mashiach, I think that it's time for all of us, ladies, to take a step in the direction of the Or, of that light. That's the message of Yosef Ha'tzadik, and that's the message of Chanukah, ladies. Borei Olam is waiting to revive you and to rekindle your neshama. You just have to make a very small adjustment. You just have to create that small opening for HaKadosh Baruch Hu's light to enter. And once that small beam of light enters your heart, Hashem is going to take care of the rest. So let's take the lessons of Yosef Ha'tzadik and apply them to our daily lives. Let's take the lesson of Chanukah, of the light and the hope, and apply that to our daily lives. Let's take the lesson of the Shekhinah, who comes down to resuscitate and to rekindle our neshama, to revive our nefesh. Let's take that and allow ourselves to be inspired. But most importantly, let us be proud to be the minority within the majority. Let us be proud to be Jews and to remember how we, the minority, will always be victorious over the majority. If you want to be part of the majority, you should just know, I always tell the Talmidot, you're batel b'shishim. What makes you unique is the fact that you are a minority among the majority. What makes you special is the fact that you are emet and the entire world seems to be living a life of sheker. This is what Yosef Ha'tzadik has taught us. That if you hold on to the truth and you allow yourself to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the window, that's the menorah, the Kedusha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The light of Hashem is in your window, not only shining the light into your home, but making sure that that light is projected to the outside world, that same world that tries to filter itself into your home, to infiltrate your home. That world out there, that darkness, is being dispelled by the light of your menorah, the light of your kedusha, the light of your hope and endurance and emunah. I give you all a beracha that Bezrat Hashem, you should continue to be strong, ladies, and fortified in your emunah and bitachon. And Bezrat Hashem, as a result of being proud to be Bat Melech, Bnot Melech, Jews, in a world that's trying to eradicate the essence of who we are once again, and Bezrat Hashem, as a result of your fortitude and your strength, you should be from that minority that Bezrat Hashem will be zeicha to see the Mashiach, and Bezrat Hashem be zeicha to see the ultimate menorah being lit in our third and final Bet Mikdash. Amen. Ken Yeh Ratzon. Chag Sameach, ladies.